Chelsea Football Club lose to Manchester City in a 4-2 defeat, and there's a lot of people saying it's the end of the world, but the reality is I took away a lot of positives. I can't lie to you, Chelsea had a well-structured plan. Chelsea made a few individual errors that we got punished for, but all in all, there were way more positives than there were negatives. You might call it false hope, you might call it positivity toxicity, or whatever the new friendly term is at this moment in time, but honestly, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the downright ugly from yesterday's game, and I think a lot of you are going to leave this channel today with a new fresh of optimism for the upcoming season, and more importantly, realism. Because one thing I am going to say, Chelsea last year finished 28 points behind Manchester City and 26 points behind Arsenal, the two teams in the league that are arguably the great teams in the league at this moment in time and have been the most consistent for the last 3 years. Yet people think with Enzo Maresca in charge in 4 weeks, we're going to close that gap. Wrong. I think there's the realistic expectations that need to be placed on this team, and more importantly, realistic expectations on this season. So we need to view this as a growing season, and more importantly, stop convincing ourselves we have to win the title because we're Chelsea. We can want to, we can aim to, but we can't stop all positivity just because we don't do something that we are really far away from. So let's get into the game. Let's talk about the good, let's talk about the bad, and let's talk about the downright ugly, because all three of them existed. But I'll be honest, there's a lot more positivity. So hit the like button, because that's the best thing you can do to support the channel. Number 2, subscribe if you're new and you actually want the refreshing takes and actual analysis of the game, whereas a lot of people, what they like to do is just speak about their narrative. But it is what it is, and there's a lot of negativity being placed upon the team at the moment, and I don't like it. I'm not going to be doing it because I genuinely believe Enzo Maresca deserves a fair opportunity, but it is what it is. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the good, and the good is Enzo Maresca tried something different in that first half, and you know what? It didn't work out. However, we saw glimpses of what could occur. What have I been preaching ever since Enzo's come in? You know, like, it's all well and good tucking in the fullback and, you know, we've got the middle and everything's working. However, I've said, Enzo, you've got a very good base. You've got Caicedo, you've got Lavia, you've got Enzo. What if we just push one of the fullbacks higher up to give us the width, and we utilize that strength in the middle that you have? And guess what he did this time around? He switched it. He went for a defense of Toussaint, Reece James, and Levi Colwell. He pushed Gusto all the way up to give us some width, and in the midfield he had Lavia, Caicedo, and Enzo pushed forward into one of those 8 roles with Mudryk on the right, KHD on the left hand side, and Nkunku as the 9. That is different, and you know what? Outside of individual mistakes that cost us, in the first half we looked okay, and in the second half we grew better and we just started to go with the game. Furthermore, that midfield is going to be here to stay, and it's a positive. I think a lot of people want Lavia, Caicedo, and Enzo. Oh my god, we should be winning everything. We are amazing. Look how much money we spent on them. First of all, these are Caicedo's first minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Enzo's just come off a pre-season holiday. Now he's back. He's trying to get back to full fitness. Lavia's balling out, and he's literally making it so hard for the rest of them. And what I also noticed is that's the midfield that we're going to be using in big games. When we go to the Emirates, when we go to the Etihad, when we go to OT, when we go to Anfield, when teams come to Stamford Bridge, the big ones, you can't go into those games with Cole Palmer as the 8, Nkunku as the 8, and Lavia and Cucurella or Gusto in the pivot. You're going to get eaten up. You're going to be out-battled. So what happens? You go with Caicedo, Enzo, and Lavia, or you're going to mix it up with someone else. You're going to need a little bit more combativeness. And we saw that element. And what this tells me is there's flexibility and no naiveness. It's not, we're just going to do it one way. No, there was actually a good implementation. The execution wasn't there, but the idea was there. Furthermore, the next one, I thought Noni and Sterling coming on shine. And a lot of people, like I said the other day, have unrealistic expectations for our wingers. People watch them, they expect every single take on to be beaten, they expect every single pass to be perfectly weighted, they expect every single shot to go in. When in reality, inconsistency. I actually think Noni had a very good impact. This is who Noni Madueke is. One game good, one game shit. One game good, one game shit. The more he plays, maybe he'll become more consistent. But he had a very good assist where he picked out a Raheem Sterling and Raheem Sterling smashed it in. And then the other one where Romeo Lavia gave him a delightful ball in transition. Noni was cool, slotted it home, very composed. And it's 4-2, but the score doesn't matter. Like, yes, we want to win every game, but it's pre-season. We were absolutely flying in last year's pre-season, but a lot of the cracks were there for what was going to come up. In this case, I'm seeing a lot of positives. And my expectation is, with time, we're going to become more simulated to playing out the back under pressure. Players are going to know where the other one's going to be. I don't think it's a coincidence that Caicedo was the one that made the mistake with the pass yesterday for Haaland's first goal, right? The penalty. Because he's the one that's played the least. He's not comfortable, like, he's not fit, he's not ready. The tempos, the patterns, they're going to get installed in all of their brain and they're going to become better. It's going to become second nature to them. At the moment, they're just used to playing transition football. So let's be a little bit more honest. Then what do we have to talk about? From a statistical standpoint, right? What I always like to do is you use your eyes and then you use quantitative numbers to back up what you see, right? Or to tell you, you know what? No, the stats aren't suggesting this. Why are they not suggesting this? Have I looked at this incorrectly? Is this wrong? And in this case, what did it suggest? It suggests that Man City only created 2 big chances against us and scored 4 goals, right? In one world, you would say we defended well. In another world, you just say Erling Haaland finished his chances very well. And you know what? His finishing was like prime Ronaldo, yes. Like, he was finishing like he's on taking it early, taking it quick, bullying Chelsea in moments when he was getting opportunity. Very, very productive. Right foot, left foot, penalty slot. He just very composed. He can do that to anybody. However, with Chelsea, let's talk about this. 12 shots in comparison to their 10. We created 5 big chances in comparison to their 2. We scored 2. And the goals they scored, we gave. Yes, we can't give goals away because it's stupid. But we will learn from it. And we will develop. And this type of play will only get better in a year's time. In 2 years' time. So hopefully, there's a direct progression. I do not believe we are going to win the league. I believe we're going to be competing for top 4. And maybe at a push, if other teams are bad, we're going to come third. Yet, it is what it is, man. Like, we just have to be very honest and we have to be transparent. Those were the positives from yesterday's game. Now let's talk about the negatives. Playing out the back will lead to mistakes every now and then. The more you do it, the less frequent the mistakes happen. The better quality you have, the less frequent the mistakes occur. Do you remember when initially Pep Guardiola came in and he used to say, I love John Stones. John Stones plays very good football. He comes out and guys, he's brave. I will only have John Stones. You know, maybe it's a terrible impression, but you know how Pep was talking about. The reality is, you need to trust your centre-halves. And Colwell will get better with playing out the back because he can do it. It's about confidence and it's about bravery. We've seen it. Tosin Adarabioyo, he most probably will get better as well. He's looked very composed so far. The thing is, players look like numpties when they make mistakes, when other players aren't in position to receive it or when they make mistakes. The passing mistakes don't only occur because someone passed it poorly. There are multiple chain reactions that occur. Whether one person didn't move quick enough into a position where there's space, whether another person didn't move enough at the right time with the right body shape to receive the ball. You need to be brave, you need to be open, and you need to be transparent. People said, we played against Manchester City's 3rd team, and look what happened. Well, let's look at it. Grealish played, Haaland played, Bob played. There is a very good chance Bob's going to have a breakout year and maybe be a regular starter for Manchester City this year. And I think this is the big thing that people forget. Pep's been there for 7 years. Their ability to string passes together, their ability to be compact when needed, their ability to manipulate play, second to none. We're learning. We are absolutely learning. We are new to this. We've got players that aren't fit, players that aren't aware of what to do. We are still learning. So we need to take the positives away. The second thing I want to talk about is individual mistakes. Whilst we can say players, they're learning the system, you need to do better. One way this is going to work and we're going to be better is by holding players accountable, being honest, being fair, and not coddling them. But at the same time, we can't be overly critical. The penalty that we gave away with the Haaland one in the beginning, oh well, you got to do better, brother. Tosin, you have to do better on the defending. Like Sanchez, you have to save that penalty when you get your hands on it. Like, it's just little things. But don't worry, this will get better. Mudryk, you need to do better in the final third. I actually am very worried about him. I really am. Like, I try to be positive about Misha, but Misha is somebody that I see glimpses, I see moments, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe he's better. Maybe he's getting better. But I see too many negatives to be so positive. And finally, and this is the one, right? Nkunku in the 9, whilst on the counter-attack, it might be good. I really prefer him in the 8. You know, the one where he's the support striker. You know, the one where he's picking up the ball in the half spaces. I can't wait for Nicholas Jackson to get back. Because if that happens, we might be better. Finally, the ugly, right? And for me, this is going to be actually very honest, truthful, and people are going to have to accept it. There is a segment of the fan base, because there was nothing ugly about yesterday's game, I don't think, that can't wait for Enzo Maresca to fail. Because they just want to say, I told you so. They don't even rate Pochettino. They don't even rate any of the managers that we were linked with. They just don't like the idea that Enzo Maresca's only had 1 year and got the job. They don't like the way we play football. They don't want to see the way we play football because they prefer something that's a little bit more direct. You're allowed to have that opinion. But what I don't think you should be doing is consistently criticizing people. But it is what it is, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts. Peace out. I'm out. Bye.